everyone. We're going to continue in our Space Shuttle Scam book today. We're going to finish this book eventually. We are on chapter 9, so let's pick up where we left off. It's perfectly safe, Alice told Wallace and the three kids. Howie's kids play in it all the time. The space simulator was resting on the barn floor with its clear plastic hatch open. There were 3 sills in the cockpit. Ruth Rose sat in the front seat with Dink. Behind her, Josh was squeezed in behind him. Their knees were bent so they could fit in the small seats. It's like being on a toboggan, Josh said, with no snow. You ready to go up in space? Alice asked them. What if I get sick? Josh asked. Don't even think about it, Dink said. We're ready. Wallace slid the hatch halfway closed. Push the red button, she said, through the opening. I'm going to take a video. Ruth Rose touched the red button, and the cables rose, pulling the tube toward the ceiling. When the simulator stopped moving upward, she pushed the green button. They began to rock forward and backward. Oh my gosh, Josh yelled. Then the tube began to roll from side to side, making all 3 kids burst out laughing. Blinky, here we come, Dink yelled. If you squint your eyes, Ruth Rose said, you'll really think you're in space. Dink looked down and saw Wallace with her cell phone aimed at the simulator. The kids waved at her. They stayed in space for a while, and then Ruth Rose pushed the white button. The tube stopped swaying. When she touched the red button, they returned to the barn floor. Wallace slid the hatch open, and the kids climbed out. I have a great video, Wallace said. She played the video on her phone. There was the silver tube against the dark blue background. It seemed to be sailing through the sky. That is so cool, Josh said. The stars painted on the ceiling with the planets hanging down made it really look like space. Then they walked over to the space shuttle and got inside. Ruth Rose was in front where she read to Dink and Josh from a card taped on the dashboard. It told how in July 1969, the Apollo 11 mission took astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins to the moon. Armstrong and Aldrin walked on the moon for 3 hours. They took pictures, gathered samples, and planted a U.S. flag. It took them 3 days to get to the moon from Kennedy Space Center, Ruth Rose said. How did the astronauts get home? John asked. Ruth Rose read from the card. They came back on July 24th, she said. They were in a special capsule that landed in the Pacific Ocean. A helicopter picked them up. Wow, Josh said. Just then the barn door opened. A boy and girl ran inside and stopped when they saw the 3 older kids. Howie came in carrying a backpack. Bear was with them, jumping up to lick the kids' fingers. Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose climbed down from the shuttle to meet the new kids. These are Maddie and Seth, Howie said, and these visitors are from Connecticut. Shake hands, y'all. Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose introduced themselves, and they all shook hands. Maddie and Seth are twins, Howie said. They were born 7 years ago next week, and we're going to Disney World for our birthday, right, Dad? Seth asked. The twins were dressed alike in green shorts and white t-shirts. Seth was holding a rubber snake, and Bear was trying to take it from his hand. Maybe we'll go to Disney World if you stop chasing your sister with that snake, his father said. He held up the backpack. Let's go to the pond and see what we can find. The 5 kids followed Howie out of the barn. Bear ran in circles around them, barking in excitement. Dink noticed Kenny and Hannah walking away from the picnic table. They stopped talking when the kids and Howie walked past. Behind the barn, Howie opened the backpack. He took out a jar of water, a bag that said plaster of Paris, a plastic cup and bowl, and a wooden mixing spoon. We're doing a nature project for school, Seth said. What kind of project? Josh asked. Making animal tracks, Maddie said. Howie led Bear to a shady spot next to the barn and told him to stay. Bear whined, but he lay down with his chin on his front paws. A hungry alligator will jump right out of the water and grab a little dog, Howie told the kids. but I've never seen one here. Josh pointed to one of the large tracks they'd seen yesterday. Is that a bear track? He asked Howie. That's a good print for our project, Howie said, but it's not from a bear. Bear feet are much wider than these, and bears have long, curved claws. When they walk, the claws make pointy marks in the dirt. He pointed at the print. You can see a few toenail marks here, but if these were bear tracks, the claw marks would be deeper and bigger. I'm guessing this track came from a large dog, Howie said, maybe a coyote or wolf. How do you know so much about animals? Josh asked. Howie smiled. I worked in a zoo when I was in high school, he said, and I read everything I can find about wildlife. Could this track be from the mountain lion that Kenny saw? Ruth Rose asked. When was that? Howie asked. Dink thought a minute. Yesterday morning, he said. Kenny said it was in the driveway. I washed Ms. Wallace's car yesterday morning before I started cleaning the gutters, he said. I didn't see any mountain lion. Did you move the cars to wash them? Dink asked. Nope, the bunkhouse hose reached fine. Howie knelt and put his finger on the dog print. Anyway, this isn't from a mountain lion, he said. Cats, including the big ones, keep their claws folded inside their paws when they walk. They don't leave claw marks in the dirt like a dog or bear would. Do you think the mountain lion will come back? Josh asked. He looked nervous. Howie shrugged. Probably not, he said. They'd rather hunt for their food where there are no humans around. He gestured toward the thick trees and bushes around the pond, like back there where the foxes and raccoons live. Is that Auntie A's land too? Dink asked. Yep. She owns a mile or so back there, Howie said. Mostly jungle and ponds, but it's worth a fortune. She told me about the folks bugging her to sell, but I told her to hold on. Land only gets more valuable. Howie pointed across the pond. Her husband started to cut trails through once, but I reckon it's grown over now. Dad, when can we do it? Seth asked. He stuffed his rubber snake in a pocket of his shorts. Right now, his father said. Following his directions, the kids poured 1 cup of plaster into the plastic bowl. They added 2 cups of water and stirred the mixture until it looked like thick white soup. They poured it into the deep paw print. Now we wait for the plaster to harden, Howie said. Seth and Maddie made casts of some of the smaller animal prints while everyone waited for the plaster in the deep paw print to harden. Howie pointed out the differences between raccoon, opossum, and fox prints. After about 20 minutes, they went back to the first cast. The plaster had hardened, so Howie lifted it from the ground. He brushed off a clump of mud. The result was a perfect dog track. Who wants some lunch? Said Wallace from behind them. That ends chapter 9. So we'll pick up with chapter 10 next time. So they made paw prints in plaster of Paris. I can't wait to see what we find out in chapter 10. This continues to get more mysterious. The property's worth so much. We don't know who's causing all of the havoc, but we're going to find out before this book ends. If you like chapter 9, please press like, and I'll see you next time at Cindy Harper Speaks. This was it today for Space Shuttle Scam. Let's tune in next time.